Good morning, and welcome to day 2 of the SSE Seattle Shirt Sew-Along. We are going to get so much done today. Yesterday, Cynthia covered everything that you will need to be prepared for this project. She went over acquiring, downloading, printing, and assembling your pattern, and then touched on fabric choice to help you be better prepared to begin today. Before we cut into our fabric, we're going to talk for a minute about adjusting our pattern pieces for fit. You may need to either grade between sizes or lengthen and shorten the pattern depending upon your height. In the post above, you will see 2 links of videos both by Alyssa covering these 2 techniques, grading between sizes and lengthening and shortening. Now, to determine if you need to make these adjustments, grading between sizes is a little bit easier to determine. Simply look at the size chart, and if your measurements fall into 2 or more sizing categories, then you will need to grade between these sizes. If you've not done this before, it may seem a little intimidating, but this is the perfect time to tackle a new skill. Using Alyssa's video above, she will lead you through exactly how to do that. Lengthening and shortening, we will go over in just a minute, determining whether or not this is necessary for you. After that, we will lay our pattern pieces out on our fabric to ensure that we are doing so correctly before we begin cutting. After we cut out our pieces, we are going to begin construction by attaching the sleeves and sewing the side seams. Tomorrow, I will meet you back right here, and we will attach the neckband and hem. So I'm excited to begin. Let's move over. We'll talk about lengthening and shortening, and we'll get started. I am going to really quickly go over how to measure for your side waist. It's an easy measurement to take, but there's a common mistake that people often make, and that is knowing where to begin and end measuring. We will end measuring at our natural waist. You can find your natural waist by doing the I'm a little teapot move, and it is the place where your body creases. It will be the most narrow point along your waist rather than down where your pants usually sit. So your natural waist, bend and find that crease, is where you will end measuring. Now, when you begin measuring, you will place the beginning of the measuring tape rather than placing it all the way up into your armpit. It will be a little bit lower than that. It will be where your natural arm side generally falls. If you're wearing a slim-fitting tank top, it will likely be where the arm of the tank top falls. So this shirt falls a little bit lower than my natural arm side usually falls. So I will measure from there down to my natural waist. And it is this measurement that determines my side waist and which I will use to compare to the pattern. We're going to begin today by familiarizing ourselves with the pattern pieces themselves. You have your bodice front, your bodice back, your sleeve, and your neckband. Both the bodice front and back are cut on the fold. You can see that indicated by the fold and the arrows pointing there. I will show you how to lay that on your fabric in just a minute. You also see this marking here indicating the direction of stretch. Now you can see that I have my sleeve cut. This is my preference. If you wish, you can leave yours as one piece. I cut my short sleeve on the short sleeve line, and when I opt to cut the long sleeve, I simply place them together, place my pattern weights, and cut it as one piece. I also, you can see here there are 2 options for the neckline, the scoop neckline and the V neckline. I cut along the V neckline and place one single piece of tape so that the scoop neckline can be folded back. But it is taped there and secure so that this little piece never gets lost. I simply fold it out when I wish to use the scoop, fold it back for the V-neck. Now your pattern has notches throughout the pattern. I recommend being careful to leave these notches when you cut out your pattern. It helps you in ensuring that everything lines up properly. You can see here on the neckband, there are notches here and here on the fold. I recommend that you do cut the notches out on both your pattern and your fabric pieces. So at the beginning of this video, I showed you how to determine the length of your side waist. So once you have that measurement, we will be measuring the pattern to compare our own measurement with that of the pattern. So my side waist is 7.5 inches. We will be measuring from the top of the arm side down to this notch here, which marks the waistline. I'm going to begin measuring 1/4 inch below the edge of the pattern because that is the seam allowance. I start 1/4 inch down and measure along the edge, and 7.5 inches brings me right here to my notch. So my side waist is the same length as the side waist of the pattern. If your side waist is more or less, then you will need to add or subtract length from the pattern. You will do that here by cutting on the length and shorten line and following the instructions in the length and shorten video that I have linked above. You will be adding or subtracting the equal amount, so a 1-to-1 ratio, of the discrepancy of your measurement. So the side waist is about 7 3/4 inches. So if you are 8 3/4 inches, you will be adding an inch. If you are 6 3/4 inches, then you will be subtracting an inch. You will add or subtract the same amount as the discrepancy in your measurement. You can see the fabric layout chart here. You can find this chart in the pattern, and it shows you the bodice front and back, each placed on the fold. You will want to use the fold indicator mark on your pattern and place that along the fold of your fabric. You want the greatest direction of stretch running this way across the width of your garment. The sleeve is cut 2 mirror imaged pieces. It is not cut on the fold. So to illustrate that for you quickly, I have the fabric here. You can see the selvage here, which means that the direction of greatest stretch runs from this selvage across the fabric to the other selvage. And it is this way that you want your stretch arrows to be facing. So you simply fold your selvage in just as far as you need to accommodate for the width of your pattern. Ensuring that the grain line of your fabric, which runs this way, is straight. And by that I mean that the selvage runs straight up and down and not at an angle like that. That it is folded straight, the grain line is running straight, the stretch is going that way. You take your pattern piece, place the fold indicator along the fold of your fabric. When you cut the sleeve, when you cut your sleeve, you can do it one of 2 ways. If you have your fabric folded over, you will place your sleeve pattern down and cut once. This will produce 2 mirror imaged sleeve pieces. If you wish to cut your fabric for the sleeve single layer, you will need to place the sleeve with the words on the pattern facing up once, and cut one with the pattern flipped and the words facing down. This will also produce 2 mirror imaged sleeve pieces.